Half a day students, I am Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. You all have been through a year of big changes. We've had to adapt and make big changes to keep our families and our island safe. But with change comes opportunity and a chance to try new things like PBS University. While Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and I will continue to do our part to keep our island safe, you students have a part to play as well. Your part is to keep learning and to keep up with your lessons. That's why I am happy to see you here ready to learn with PBS University. PBS University is a way to bring a continuous educational curriculum to you while you stay safe at home during this time. To help you keep up with your studies, we asked our friends at PBS Guam and the Guam Department of Education to put together this episode. Thank you for doing your part and have a great lesson.
Michelle Crisostomo, and I am the owner and operator of a microgreens farm called Tiny Greens Guam. So I've been growing microgreens for about 6 years now. For the first 3 years I was learning under my dad. He is a microgreen farmer and he taught me everything that I know. And then the last 3 years I had started my own microgreen farm and have been growing for a lot of the major hotels and restaurants here on Guam. I've also been teaching microgreen workshops for about 2.5 years with the nonprofit organization Guahan Sustainable Culture. So we teach a lot of different workshops, including how to raise your own chickens, how to grow in garden beds, the basics of aquaculture and hydroponics. Are the seedlings of your very common vegetables and herbs. You see them a lot in restaurants where chefs use them as garnishes on dishes, and you can also grow them at home. The varieties range from broccoli, which is very popular. You have radish, carrots, sunflower, and they're very fast to grow. So they take about 5 to 10 days and they're ready to harvest right away. They're very good in smoothies, salads, you can put them in soups, and even in sandwiches. And the really great thing about microgreens is that they don't contain chemicals of any kind, so you know exactly what is going into what you're eating. So microgreens are really great to grow because they're very easy. You don't require a lot of materials to do it, and they're easy even for children to do. So harvesting in 5 to 7 days is something really quick. It doesn't require a lot of space. And it's also something easy that you can grow in your home and be able to feed yourself and your family. The kits that we sell are just $10, and from there you can grow all different types of microgreens. And if you wanted to continue to keep growing them, you can actually transplant them into bigger containers and have them grow to full mature size vegetables or herbs. So I wanted to share some of the varieties of microgreens that I'm actually growing today for some restaurants and then some for individual people who have ordered. So the first one I wanted to show is a basil microgreen tray. And for one of the restaurants, it's actually a half and half basil tray. So the first half is a Genovese basil, and the second half is what's called a dark opal basil, and it's got a nice purple color to it as well as a kind of dark licoricey flavor. And there are so many varieties of basil microgreens that you could grow. I have about 5 different ones at home. And the second one is carrot microgreens. And so I grow this for one of the newer restaurants that is just opening. And you wouldn't think by looking at it that it's carrot microgreens, but if you do cut off a piece and taste it, it's actually a very strong carrot flavor. So this one is not a very common microgreen that you see growing and takes a little bit longer. So it will take about 2 weeks to grow and harvest this variety. The basil also would take probably about 2 weeks to 20 days to grow and harvest and be ready to eat. And this one I have is a mild mix that I've blended myself. And so it's a mix of broccoli, kale, and cabbage. This one is very popular for people who like to grow microgreens at home. It's got a very mild taste, which is why we call it mild mix. So it's not very potent as a lot of the other microgreens are. And this one has only been growing for about 8 days, and it's already ready to harvest. So it's very fast, and you can enjoy it right away. If you decide that you don't want to eat them right away, you just cut the amount that you want to harvest and eat, and then the rest you can keep growing on your windowsill and harvest whenever you feel like eating it. This one here is pea shoots. So the tendrils of the shoots are very popular in a lot of dishes, and so what chefs usually do is just cut off a nice piece like this, and it's very cute. They like to put this on top of certain dishes to just give it that nice fancy look, and it also tastes very good. If you put this in a stir fry or soups, it's very tasty as well. So these do well being cooked or eaten raw. And so this one I'm growing for an individual, and it's actually sunflower. So if you look very closely, you'll be able to see the sunflower seeds on it. This has been growing for just 7 days, and it's already ready to harvest. So it's very quick. This one is growing a little bit different from the other microgreens because it's actually growing on a hydroponic mat inside, which I'll explain later how to use. But if you were to take this 7-day-old sunflower microgreen and transplant it to soil, it would actually grow and be a full sunflower. So growing your own microgreens at home is very easy. And I'll go ahead and break down some of the supplies needed. There's very little supplies involved, and they all come in this small starter kit. So I'll go ahead and open this up and show you what's inside. This one right here is actually a broccoli variety that we sell. So it's a single serving microgreen kit with broccoli seeds. And so it comes with your planting container, which can be reusable if you decide you want to continue growing microgreens. And it has in here a spray bottle, so you will need water, and you put it inside the spray bottle. And then it has your seed packet. So this one is 3 grams of broccoli. And the seeds you do want to keep in a cool temperature. I like to keep them in my refrigerator. Being in the hot temperature can affect it, and it won't germinate as well. And then inside the planting container is also a medium to growing for growing microgreens. And this is a coconut core. So you can use all different types of mediums, including a hydroponic mat or soil. And I find that the cocoa core is very easy to work with and very easy to package. So that's what's inside here. And there are instructions printed inside the kit, which we can open up. And everything is all inside there. But I will go ahead and break down the instructions for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to plant microgreens now using the cocoa core, but I also wanted to show you a hydroponic mat that is sometimes also used. So you're not limited to just one type of grow medium. There are different ones out there for different types of seeds. So the broccoli works best in soil or cocoa core, so I'll go ahead and wet the cocoa puck that's in here with some water. So as I go ahead and do that, it will start to expand, and you give it just a few minutes, and then it starts to get much larger, and it expands from there. And then I'll just pat it down and plant the seeds on it. So after the cocoa core has expanded in the cup, you'll go ahead and take a spoon and then you can just mash it down so that everything is even. That will help to have all your seeds germinate evenly. So once you have it patted down and it's nice and moist, you can go ahead and start putting the seeds onto the medium. So what I'll do is I'll open the broccoli seeds here. And you can just tear this open. I find that it is much easier to plant in a plastic cup or something, so that everything plants a little easier when I do it this way. But you're okay also just planting straight from the packet. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and sprinkle the broccoli seeds evenly. You want to try not to get it too bunched up or else it might not germinate so well. So I try to go around and just tap lightly with my finger evenly over the whole tray here. So just like that. And the seeds in the packet are measured out exactly so that you don't have to worry if it's too much or too little. It's the exact amount that's fitted for this grow kit. So after the seeds are evenly distributed, you're going to go ahead and take some water. So it comes with the spray bottle. I just brought my big bottle since I'm also growing commercially, and this one is much easier for me when I'm doing big trays. So you'll go ahead and spray the whole top of your seeds and get it nice and moist all around. And then what you'll do after this is you'll cover it for the first day and you'll put it in a dark space. So you take the lid so that it's moist and humid inside and you just gently put it on top, and then I like to put it in a dark container and keep it in there for the first 3 days. And so like you'll see here, I have a sunflower growing and it's been day 3. And this sunflower is actually ready to come out and be put into the light, so we can keep that out, and I'll put the new container in. Then what I'll do is every day when I wake up, or you can do it before you sleep, just don't forget about them. Every day you open it up and then you spray it. And then what you'll do is you'll cover it back up. So you do that for the first 3 days. It's been germinated until they've sprouted to maybe about 1.5 inches or 1 inch, and then you can remove it, which is usually on day 3. So you remove it and put it into the light. You can put it by a windowsill, or if you have a grow light in your house, you can also put it there. So after you've been spraying it and keeping it in the dark for the first 3 days, you're ready to bring your microgreens out into the light. So this sunflower, for example, I have brought out into the light and I'm ready to water it. But instead of spraying from the top now, I like to water from the bottom because it's a lot more gentle on the leaves. So I'll just gently pour some water on the sides of it and not directly on top, because I don't want to damage or smash any of the very fine, delicate leaves. I usually use a tray on the bottom in case I'm making any mess. But you'll water it about once a day. Just look to see if it's getting dry. and then you can water it. If it looks like it's already wet, you don't have to water it every day. You can just wait for the next day. And then we'll keep this out and put it into the light. Just right under your kitchen windowsill is perfect for that. And then once it's done, so this is about day 3, and this is what it will look like on day 7. And they're ready to cut and harvest and eat. So what I do is I just take a regular scissors. Some people use a sharp knife. I feel like scissors work very well. And I go down and cut just above the root. So I'll cut a few here. And just like that, and they're ready to eat. And these are perfect in salads. Kids love them as a snack, and you can put them in smoothies, and you can just eat it really just by itself. It's got a very nutty and nutty flavor and kind of like a spinach taste to it. I went ahead and cut a few bits of microgreens, and these are perfect to put in your smoothies or sandwiches. Kids love them as a little snack, or you can just cut them and eat them right away. It's got a very nutty flavor to it and almost kind of like a spinach taste. And that's it, just 7 days and you have your very own microgreens.
So, what is hydroponics? Growing plants in water without soil. Wait, back up. In nature, the soil a plant grows in serves two purposes. One, it anchors the plant from above ground hazards. Two, to provide the plant with nutrients it needs to keep growing. With hydroponics, these two purposes are handed off. The plant is supported by a net pot, which allows the roots to grow through into a nutrient-rich solution below. Hydroponics was first used as far back as 600 BC in the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the world. By eliminating soil and housing the roots directly in water, the plants grown hydroponically flourished. This was achieved because plants grown hydroponically could absorb nutrients from water much more efficiently than plants grown in soil, resulting in faster growth and greater harvests.
So hydroponics is basically growing plants without soil. So you don't need soil to grow plants, but you do need the minerals and the nutrients that is in the soil to feed the plant. So there are a lot of different ways that you can grow hydroponics, and I'll show you a very basic way that I do it using the microgreens as an example. I'll also show you some of the fertilizers that are used in different hydroponic growing. Okay, so another very important thing with hydroponics is knowing what the pH balance of your water is. Plants need to be within a certain pH range to be able to absorb the nutrients effectively. So normally a 5.5 to 6.5 range is ideal for most plants. And so you can easily test the pH of your water by using a very inexpensive pH kit. And a lot of this can be found in a lot of the local grow stores that are here on Guam today. There are quite a few that sell hydroponic supplies, hydroponic nutrients, and this as well, which is a pH down. So if your water is too acidic, it will help bring that down for you. So what you can do to test the pH level is you just fill this container halfway, and then you use the testing kit. Right here, you just shake it up and put about 2 to 3 drops in here. So I put 3 drops in, and then you cover it and shake it up. So as you can see with the color of the water compared to the color chart on this kit, you can get an idea of where the water is, what range. And so it is pretty high, and you want to bring down the pH level more to a 5.5 or 6.5, so more in the orange and yellow color. And you want to make sure that this water is balanced before you start feeding it to your plants. So what I would do, if I had a larger container, you can adjust this. You just pour a little at a time, test your water again, see if it's improved, and if it needs more, you just continue to put some of the pH down. There are a lot of different ways you can bring the pH down that don't include using this type of solution. There are some other natural ways out there that you can be able to do this. So a lot of different ways. So there are a lot of different reasons why someone would want to grow in hydroponics. A lot of times it can be a sustainable way of growing if you're living in an area that might have bad soil, or you might be in an area that is very rocky and there's not a lot of soil available. You can also use hydroponics if you're growing on a rooftop or in your apartment and you have the lack of space. So hydroponics can be grown in places where it wasn't possible before. And so that's what's one of the benefits of growing with hydroponics. Another benefit is that you can reduce your use of water. There is a hydroponic method called recirculating, and so sometimes when you're growing with that type of hydroponic, you can save up to 70% of your water by having it recirculate continuously through a certain type of hydroponic system. Another benefit to growing in hydroponics is that you can actually have your plants grow up to 50 times faster. With hydroponics, you're able to control the amount of nutrients that you feed, and it's a continuous supply to the roots, which makes plants grow a lot faster than they would in soil. And then another reason that is good for growing in hydroponics is that you don't have the same types of pests that are normally found in soil, and then you don't have to deal with weeds that you normally find in the ground. Overall, growing hydroponics is becoming a very popular way to grow your own food, and it's opened up the doors for a lot of people to start experimenting with it, growing at home with it, and then I encourage you guys to try it out and see if it's something that you enjoy doing, and hopefully you'll be able to start growing your own food at home soon. Another one of the benefits of growing hydroponics is that you can do it all indoor, which eliminates the need for pesticides. So when you're growing indoor, you're able to control your environment, the temperature, the humidity, and also keep a lot of the bugs out that would normally be outside in your vegetables. And eliminating the need for pesticides is also great for people who want to eat healthier and want to eat food that doesn't have pesticides on them. So growing your own microgreens or growing hydroponically can be fun and easy, and I encourage you to give it a try. Try growing food for yourself at home. It will be fun for your family and help bring you closer to food security. If you have any questions, you can contact me at Tiny Greens Guam or our team over at Guahan Sustainable Culture. I'm Michelle Crisostomo, and thank you for tuning in and allowing me to share my passion of microgreens with you.
Hafa students, I'm Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. For more than a year now, you all have continued to wash your hands and watch your distance from others, and you've done a really great job wearing your masks. We know your parents and guardians have helped you to make these changes to keep yourself and your community safe. As Governor Leon Guerrero said, we are happy you are here. We want you to continue to learn and sharpen your skills with the help of PBS University. This program is the result of a collaborative effort. We couldn't do it alone. I'd like to thank the teachers and support staff of the Guam Department of Education and PBS Guam for their work and their commitment to our students. I'd also like to thank you students for participating at home. To your parents, I'd like to thank you for taking an active role in your child's education. We are all eager to return to a time when all of us can share and study together in person. Until then, we hope you learned something new from this PBS University instruction.